record. You're in my seat. I didn't put this chair out just for you. He doesn't seem to care. Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. My name is Callie, and this is another weekend of Clarinets, Cats, and Coffee. In this video, I am going to give you guys 3 really easy ways to adjust your reeds, starting with the least expensive and ending with the most expensive. So in this video, you will not be seeing anything about how to use a reed knife, and you will not be seeing anything about how to use a reed geek. Those are 2 things that I think are a little bit, require a little bit more experience to be able to maneuver. The reed geek being the easier of the 2, obviously, but so that will be in a future video. Before we get started, I would like to thank everybody who was able to come to the coffee chat last week. If you're interested in coming to any of the other coffee chats, I hold these meetings over Zoom and you can become a patron. Just check out the links below, and the next one will be coming up here pretty soon. So we have one in December. So it'd be really great to see some of you guys sign up. And I also do master classes, private chats with patrons, and various other levels, so be sure to check that out. That being said, I'd like to thank everybody who has been a patron over all of these months at all of the various levels that you're at, so thank you for your enthusiasm. And thank you everybody for leaving your comments and everything the past few weeks and couple of months. It's really been great to see such a community kind of start to build on my channel, so that's really exciting. Now we're coming into the holiday season, and I know some of us have different projects coming up that might be a little different than what we've done in the past, and you know, it's not a great time to gig right now, but you know, I think a lot of us are playing and recording and putting stuff out there right now. So I've really been enjoying posting videos about caring for reeds and things like that. So you get another video this week on how to adjust your reeds. Several weeks ago, you guys may remember a little video that I put out with Camille, actually, and she picked out a little box of reeds for me to start. I think it was a box of 3.5 plus reeds, and so I've been breaking those in, and at this time I need to adjust them just a little bit. They're doing pretty well, but I've kind of been saving these reeds to demonstrate for you guys some of the more simple things that I do to adjust my reeds. And to be honest, I haven't really done anything very complex in quite a long time when working on my reeds, simply because I've taken good care of them. I keep them humidified, I rotate my reeds, they last for months, and they don't really warp that much anymore. But they do a little bit, and they get out of adjustment just a little bit. So balancing a reed is something that may come up. It may be something that you might want to do. So these are just some easy things you can do to get your reeds into adjustment. The first adjustment that I'm going to show you guys how to do is with sandpaper. That's by far the most affordable thing to do, and also I think the least damaging to the reed. You can take off a very small amount at a time and not completely destroy your reed. So we're not going to sand anything on the back. I'm going to show you guys how to work on the front of your reed now. So let's go on over here. I've got my table all set up, and I will show you guys just some little tweaks you can do on your reeds to get them sounding good with just sandpaper. So here's my little reed case. I've got my fun space guys on here and my humidifying pack, and here are the reeds that I had started back whenever Camille had picked out my reeds for me. So I'm gonna get these guys out and show you how I like to adjust them. Now you want to make sure that whenever you test out reeds that the reed isn't super dry. And these guys are over a month old, and I've been rotating them among maybe 20 other reeds, so they're pretty broken in by now. they've kind of lost some of their green quality, you know, the newness of them, but they're still pretty good. So we're gonna test out this one right here, and you may not be able to hear the difference between each of the sides, but I will describe it to you. So first I just kind of test it straight on. Okay, so this guy feels a little bit stuffy to me still, but I'm gonna go ahead and test each of the sides and see if we can get them balanced out. So what I do is I actually turn it sideways. So when you turn it this way, it closes off the bottom part of the reed. So this part is up against your lip and this part is vibrating. So, and likewise when you turn it, this part of the reed is closed off, this part of the reed is vibrating. So some people do it side to side like this and like this, so you can try that and see if it works for you. I like doing it this way. So it might be difficult for you to distinguish which side was more or less resistant, but for me, the right side of this one was just a little bit more difficult to blow through than this side. This one is just slightly unbalanced. It might have warped a little bit, but overall, it's going to be a pretty good reed. So what I do is I actually just take a little piece of sandpaper, kind of tear it off like this, and I make like a really tiny little sanding tool. It's kind of like a little bit of a reed tool, so it's flat right here and I can hold on to it here. So this is really great if you're just like not really good at adjusting reeds and you're afraid of gouging your reed with a reed knife. I'm just going to take a little bit off of the right side of the reed, and for me, I usually get the best results like right in here. So you don't want to take any off the actual tip, and if you go too far down, this is going to vibrate more freely than here and you're going to get a weird sound. So I just like to imagine that there's like a little triangle or a little circle or something like right in here, and I just sand a tiny bit. A little bit can really go a long way, and since this is not sharp, you're not going to gouge the reed. So this is already taking off just a tiny bit right here. And since this reed was kind of stuffy, I actually do kind of want to take a little bit more off of this side just to get more of the sides kind of vibrating. And by doing so, it can open up the sound and just get more of the heart of the reed vibrating. So if you can kind of see this, again, I'm just taking off this little bit from like right here and right here. I don't like working on the middle or the heart of the reed because these are already like pretty well made reeds. By taking a little bit off of the upper sides of the reed and a little bit more off of the right, this feels and sounds so much more even to me. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the next easiest thing, which I think is the ALE reed balancer. Now, if you guys missed my review from maybe last month or a couple months ago, I did a pretty in-depth review of this product and kind of showed you guys some different things to do. I think this really shines if you work on the back of the reed. It really requires a little bit more patience and more careful planning. I don't know, more careful learning to work on the front of the reed with this. And you know, if you push too hard, you can gouge it. And I don't think it was actually really made to work on the front of the reed so much as the back of the reed. So as far as ease of use, you can really just like use this product and get pretty good results from it without doing a whole lot more to it. So this guy's actually a little bit warped, and it's really easy to just use this balancer. But before I do that, I guess I should play it so you can hear what it sounds like. Alright, so the sides are pretty even, but there's still a little bit of a weird kind of feeling when blowing against this reed that I wasn't getting in the other one, and usually that happens when the middle of the reed is a little bit warped. So it might be kind of hard actually to identify that on this reed because it still looks pretty good, but I'm going to show you a close-up and give you an idea of what a warped reed looks like. What happens when a reed gets warped is the part of the reed that sits up against the mouthpiece, like right here, it kind of starts to poke out and like take on the shape of that part of the mouthpiece. So you can actually tell if it's a little warped by doing the wobble test. Oh yeah, there we go. Now you can see. So I lay it flat up against the glass, and so you can't actually see the outline of the mouthpiece on the back of the reed, but when you lay it up against the glass, you can actually see this kind of wobbling, especially like right here. And that's kind of what's making it sound and feel a little bit stuffy, because it's just kind of a part of the reed that's just a little bit more substantial, right? So this guy is actually really great for just balancing a reed, because you're not even balancing it, you're just fixing the warped edge on the back. And so I just really like dragging it across, and you can kind of see how much you're actually taking off. Oops. There we go. Okay, we're gonna test this out before I take too much off. Alright, so that feels so much better to me. I'm gonna leave it at that. Now the next thing that I'm gonna show you guys is my vandoren reed glass. And I think that this one is probably the most difficult to use out of all of these, but it really doesn't require that much more experience with using. It's a lot like using sandpaper, but you can get a finer point and you can do a little bit more with it. So we're gonna test out this guy. Actually, I need to wet it down for a moment. Okay, so the sides are actually pretty even. I don't want to do a whole lot to balance out the sides, so I'm going to check to see if this guy is warped. Yeah, this guy's just a little bit kind of wobbly here in the back, especially like right up here. Yeah. So I'm gonna just kind of balance out the back. Actually, I guess this guy has been used quite a bit. You can see maybe a few more hours than some others. You can see a little bit of the outline now of the mouthpiece, like right in here, maybe just a little bit. So you could flatten out a reed a little bit on the back here. I actually don't really do that a whole lot anymore. I used to. I actually really love just using this part because it is completely flat. You know, it's a lot like how the straight edge on this is. And so, you know, you can just kind of hold it up against the middle here and just kind of go like that. So if you already have this kit, you know, this is like one of the easiest things you can do is to just balance out the back of the reed like this and then test it on the back. So this piece of glass, though, it has a smooth side and a rough side, so you can actually really, yeah, that's a lot better. I might do a little more, but yeah, so this alone is worth the cost, I think, of this kit, because the reed glass is so, it's like the perfect size, and it's great and easy to use. Alright, so we kind of fixed the warping problem, and already that is sounding a little bit more core, like it has a little more core in the sound. And the sides are pretty well balanced. Alright, so my reed working routine has been greatly improved over the years because I use products that keep my reeds humidified and nice and aerated, and I rotate them religiously, so I highly recommend you do that. So hopefully this will help you guys out before any recording sessions you have or any gigs you have coming up. In the meantime, if you have any questions or concerns, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. And you know, if you guys have a really easy reed care or reed adjusting routine that you want to share, again, leave them in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys, and it's really great to share each other's advice and kind of learn from each other. And if you really like my channel, please consider becoming a patron. For just $3 a month, you can contribute to this channel and keep everything going. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and as always, happy practicing.